Well, hello, my brogos, ogresses, and all my fairy tale things. I've got the Shrek 5 leak bucket again, which means it is time for another Shrek 5 speculation and updates video. Now, since my last one of these, there has been a huge development. An actual trailer for the movie dropped, which I was not expecting at all until the end of the year. So I did 2 videos talking about that teaser trailer that you definitely know about because it seemed to rock the whole world by storm, and it actually brought a lot of new folks into the channel. So to all you new people joining, thanks for doing that. What we do in these videos, I have this bucket here called the Shrek 5 leak bucket, and what I do is I jot down all the rumors I see on the internet about Shrek 5, and I throw them in this bucket, and we pick them at random, and we check them out. As always, these are going to be mostly rumors, baseless speculation, so who really knows if any of these have a grain of salt. But some of them are somewhat official, so I will note where needed. So we're just going to get right into it and dig on into the bucket here. Let's feel for a good one. I'm looking for a juicy leak. This is it right here. Okay, and it says, oh boy, all right. This is actually a big one. This comes from My Time to Shine, the same exact leaker, supposedly, that was in the last video. Now, that leaker was actually correct in Zendaya being in the movie, but I'm still a little skeptical. I think guessing that Zendaya in the movie was not, and there was a non-zero chance of it happening. So do keep that in mind with the track record of this leaker. But he writes that Shrek, Donkey, and Shrek's daughter visit another universe, not like Shrek 4. It'll feel familiar to us. So what exactly does that mean? Well, I thought about that, and I'm like, okay, a universe that feels familiar to us, and then in the trailer, they're viewing these memes that are based off of real memes that people have created in real life. And then I'm like, okay, is it the real world? Oh no. Is Shrek, Donkey, and Felicia going into our world, the human world? That does seem to be where this is leaning. And then I was thinking, wait a second, this premise kind of sounds familiar. And that's because last year, it was uncovered that the original plot of Kung Fu Panda 4, directed by Mike Mitchell, was that Jack Black and Zen, Awkwafina's character, venture out into the real human world. And supposedly, this film would have been a live-action CGI hybrid movie featuring Jack Black and Awkwafina in the real world playing themselves. So they weren't actually going to be like cartoon animals. They were going to be them. And I don't know, that just sounded so weird, but it was pulled at the last moment and retooled into the movie that we got. And that's why Kung Fu Panda 4 feels a little bit rushed compared to the other installments. But is it possible that they changed the plot of that movie because it was very similar to what the Shrek team was coming up with? I don't know, what do you think about that? A Shrek movie set in the real world, would they be going into an animated version of our real world? Or would we see like Mike Myers and Zendaya as humans running around the streets as Shrek? I hope that is not the case. That would not be good. But either way, it's definitely going to be interesting if that has a grain of salt to it. Okay, next one. Shrek 5 looks to be dropped from the IMAX schedule. This is true. It does seem that when Shrek 5 was delayed from July to December of next year, it was removed from IMAX because December, there's a lock for Dune, and Dune gets priority over Shrek. I think that's a shame, especially for enthusiasts, film enthusiasts that like to see films in IMAX. I am not one of those people. The only DreamWorks movie I've ever seen in IMAX was Monsters vs. Aliens in 2009, and my parents were not happy about the price, so we didn't see any of those. But even as an adult now, with a little bit more money, I think it's a little overpriced. But that said, more power to you if you like IMAX. Either way, you're not going to be seeing Shrek in IMAX. It's not happening. Okay, what else we got here? Variety John Lithgow video. So this was cool. Variety sat down with John Lithgow and asked him about all of his favorite roles. But if you look at the thumbnail and watch the first minute of the video, there's definitely a Shrek focus on this. and we get to see Lord, I said Lord Farquaad, we get to see John Lithgow doing Lord Farquaad's lines. But who are we kidding? He is Lord Farquaad, and he is as spry as ever. He is so good. The whole interview, all I hear is Lord Farquaad. And watching this great interview just leads credence to my theory that Farquaad is coming back. It seems to be all but confirmed at this point. John Lithgow is having a little bit of a comeback. He's been in the news a lot lately. I think it's going to happen. I think he's coming back as Lord Farquaad. I actually think he's already Lord Farquaad. I think he's recorded the lines and is just being hush-hush about it. Okay, next up, what do we got here? The Shrek Spanish dub cast. Oh boy, so this is a huge controversy in the Latin Shrek community right now. DreamWorks confirmed, as well as the respective actors and actresses, that the Spanish dub of Shrek 5 will feature an all-new cast. That's right, none of them are returning. Shrek, Fiona, Donkey, and the same actors and actresses have played these characters since the original Spanish dub of Shrek 1. Now, I'm not familiar with the Latin American version of Shrek. I actually do need to watch it. It's supposedly very, very good and offers a different but fun take on the characters. Fun fact, Antonio Banderas actually plays Puss in Boots in the Spanish versions of all the Shrek movies. And he also did the Castilian Spanish dub as well. And supposedly, from what I've heard, he plays Puss in Boots a little differently. He gives him a lisp and just offers a different take on the character. And the general consensus is that the Spanish dubs of the Shrek movies are some of the best animated dubs that have ever been released. People insist these are near definitive versions of the movies if you're not able to watch the English-speaking version. And I think that's neat. It's very unfortunate that they've not brought the cast back together. From what I have read, it seemingly has something to do with a disagreement regarding pay. Apparently, some of the people felt like they weren't getting their fair share, and they had a falling out with DreamWorks, really now just Universal and Illumination, who kind of just said, well, if you're not going to agree, then we're just going to wipe the slate clean, and that's what it looks like. So, very unfortunate. It's a big, kind of a hot-button issue right now in the Spanish-speaking Shrek community. Let me know what you think. Have you seen the Spanish versions of the Shrek movies? Is this a death knell for the Latin American version of Shrek 5? Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. Okay, now we have one more here, and this is by far the most interesting piece of information we got all week regarding Shrek 5. Okay, so this one comes from a user named Lillian Venus, hope I got that name right, who is a NuMetal enthusiast. Who remembers NuMetal in the 2000s, like Korn, and the band we're talking about here, Limp Bizkit, who tweeted out that Limp Bizkit will be composing original songs for Shrek 5. That's right, plural, songs for Shrek 5. And then, in the comments, Fred Durst, aka Limp Bizkit himself, just said Shrek stuff. So this seems to be completely legit, real and confirmed. It really is Fred Durst in the comments. Just said Shrek stuff. So Limp Bizkit in Shrek. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work, but they were a 2000s band, and the new Shrek movie seems to really be playing into that 2000s nostalgia, so maybe there's some sort of secret formula here, but if they're composing multiple songs for the movie, I just hope that leaves enough room for some of those classic bands to come back. I know Smash Mouth isn't really going to happen because their lead singer has unfortunately passed away, but they do have a new lead singer. They could just use him, and they do still release music. I also want to see the return of the Eels, the kind of DreamWorks band that's featured in all of the Shrek movies. I always felt like they were super underrated, and I would love to see at least something by the Counting Crows, as I always closely identified them with Shrek. I mean, Accidentally in Love is Shrek and Fiona's theme song. Even just an instrumental version featured in the movie would make me happy, but a Limp Bizkit soundtrack? I don't know, that's just odd. I'll be honest, it's not my type of music. I listen to lots of different music. I love rap, I love pop punk, 2000s skater punk, pop punk, all that type of stuff, from Weezer to Tribe Called Quest. I listen to all sorts of music, and the one genre I've avoided is NuMetal. I was just never a fan of it. Like, I don't know, but I guess I'm gonna have to listen to some Limp Bizkit now ahead of Shrek. So that's all I got for today in the Shrek leak bucket. Definitely some really interesting stuff. I'm shocked that the news for Shrek 5 is continuing at a breakneck pace. I keep saying there's going to be a drought of news because we're still 2 years away from the movie. I mean, not this Christmas, but next Christmas. But Universal has certainly kept things interesting, as well as all of the film leakers in quotation marks. So, as the road continues ahead to Shrek 5, I'll be here discussing all of the very strange developments. Let me know in the comments what was the most interesting piece of information in these past few weeks regarding Shrek 5. And as always, have a happily ever after.